signalled out some of the particular instances that he could recall, and that's hammered home in that massive number of 20. Individually for the winning Giants, Leroy Cudjoe with one try assist, 5 tackles, 131 metres. Jerry McGilvery with a try and 140 metres. Shannon Wakeman 102 metres, and Jordan Rankin 2 try assists, 5 tackles, 130 metres. Mason Caton Brown for Wakefield managed 103 metres. David Fafita pipped him with 104, and Keegan Hurst notched it up a little bit more to 107. So still some big metres in the pack.
Yeah, okay. At the same time then, Hull FC were getting their Super 8s campaign off to the perfect start with a 32 points to 18 victory over the Salford Red Devils in front of 10,239, refereed by one Mr. Jack Smith.
Yeah, Sarah McKenzie said, potential banana skin avoided. We looked lacklustre at times. Smith's officiating was questionable. Why do we have in-goal judges if the ref is going to overrule him from 60 metres away? Salford were lucky not to lose a man for a late high shot on Connor or the off-the-ball high shot on Kelly. Carlos's first try was a thing of beauty and incredulity.
Very good and very well put. AK Steel 69, I always like getting to read these ones out. Is it just me, or is the Salford mascot an effigy of Marwan? My first prediction is that by the end of the season, Salford will make their mascot redundant and Marwan will be running up and down the touchline with a toasting fork and his face reddened with exertion. My second prediction is that Jake Connor will play for England. He's not ready yet, but his skill set, unpredictability and willingness to go to the line make him a cert.
Just Liam at Way Brian 89 just said crap.
There you go. Salford fan. And Joshua's granddad said a bit of post-semi struggle. We've all had that, but just managed to keep on top, aided by poor conversion rate by Salford. Connor slotted into the halves comfortably. A couple of high shots not given, had hard enough punishment. And a special mention to Mr. Smith's eyesight, who managed to overrule his in-goal judge from a distance of 60 yards away. That one obviously got the wind up the Scotter family, didn't it?
It obviously did, yeah.
There you go. Hull looked like good value for me in this. Salford are imploding. The thing that stood out for me from catching up on this one was just how easily Hull were able to make yards down the middle against Salford, and how cutting they're able to be when they're flairier players. Got the ball in the middle of the park where you would expect Salford to wrap them up and kind of stem the flow a little bit. It just seemed like they were cutting through Salford at will, really, particularly in the second half.
So do you think that
stretched things out?
Forward line dominance is the reason why it went from a 14-all?
I suspect so. We've alluded to Salford's forward struggling in the last few weeks, haven't we, as well?
Yeah, I mean, and canning off a prop forward in Hassan to bring in a winger in Vatavai kind of shows that maybe they weren't prioritising that position, although Vatavai is having 20 carries a game so far and absolutely monstering the work rate at least.
Yeah, which is good to see, because you do suspect when players like the Beast come over that they might be just taking a paycheck. But if you look at some of the people that they've got out as well, we've already talked about Lamatasi being missing for them. Flash Flanagan's a massive loss for Salford as well, so that does leave glaring holes in the forward line that perhaps they
Lee Mossett,
let's not forget. Moose not about for them as well. So there's three very influential forward line players not pulling on the Salford Red Devils jersey in the minute. And I think it was there to see, really, when they came up against Hull FC's forward line, who, on the contrary, were firing on all cylinders, really, weren't they? And let's have a look at who it was. Yeah, Taylor, Houghton, Watts in the front row. Sika Marley had a good game. He's one of the players that I saw breaking through Salford. Washbrook and Ellis, and then Green, Thompson, Michaels and Fash. So there's a lot of power that's playing well and is fit and raring to go for Hull FC at the minute in that front line.
And that's off the back of physically the largest back line in the league with Fanua Griffin and Talanoa. Yeah, there's some real size and power there, so it's perhaps not surprising. But it was apparently the Jake Connor show, and
how many times has he slotted into the halves this season and just done a good job for them as well? It's his versatility that makes him so valuable to Hull for me as well.
The Connor Kelly combination appears to be
it looks quite good,
so exciting.
Well, yeah, I don't think anyone knows what's
creative.
Going on. You've got to feel sorry for anyone trying to get on the end of kicks or predict what they're going to do to end sets, but.
You wonder how it might play out in a final against a Cass or a Leeds or a Saints, but
yeah,
or hopefully.
But they're exciting to watch on either side of the ruck. They're exciting to watch.
So unpredictable, yeah.
Definitely so. I like Jake Connor. He's a very, very good player.
Side note for Manu Vatuvai getting his first 2 tries, erupting.
Yeah.
There.
Well, it wasn't the first try wasn't so much of eruption, more of a kind of dribble, wasn't it? It was a short finish for him, but. Look, you talked about it, his work rate's there, and that's the thing that I wanted to see. Not necessarily scoring 20 tries between now and the end of the season, but actually coming and taking it seriously and not just assuming that it's going to be a walk in the park, which he certainly seems to be doing, given the number of times he's getting the ball in his hand and the work he's putting in. So good on him so far.
Yeah, but Hull FC's powering through and looking almost like dead certs for a top 4 spot now.
Absolutely.
With the, sort of, the form that the forward pack's getting and the
every inch grand final contender,
creative ability that they're showing,
which is remarkable considering the number of injuries they have.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely so. What do the stats tell us on this one then, sir?
They tell us that carries and meters numbers were all close, with Hull having a narrow advantage in these. They enjoyed advantages in tackle bust and offloads too, as well as a big 12-8 clean break win. That's the creativity we talked about, and 11-17 win on the error count. They lost the penalty count 10-5, but had a 3.8% team tackle success that helped them overcome it. It's a bit of a theme, losing the penalty count but winning the games this week.
Yeah.
But Salford, all those errors, when they were doing well, they weren't making any errors at all, were they? But now they're making lots of errors, and they just can't get over the top of it with having to sort of waste that energy, basically, which is what errors result in for you.
Yeah, it is, exactly. Individually then, who stood out for us?
You read it whilst I find my pen.
Well, I was going to get down and find your pen whilst you read it out, and we could have been singles.
Oh, we're safe anyway. Carlos Tumavave, 2 tries.
No, I want to read it out now. I'm kidding, go on.
Tumavave, 2 tries, 5 tackle busts, 130 metres, 2 clean breaks. Jake Connor, 1 try, 3 try assists, 7 tackle busts, 2 clean breaks. Danny Houghton, 2 try assists, so maybe he can avoid attack that we give him credit for.
Sake.
47 tackles.
Isn't it great to be hoisted by our own petard?
Jamie Shaw, 11 tackle busts, 114 metres and 2 clean breaks. So plenty impressed though too as well for the losing Salford side.
Yes.
Manu Vatavai, 2 tries, 11 tackle busts, 166 metres, 3 clean breaks. Niall Evans with a try and 106 metres.
Oh, what a try it was. Did you see it?
No.
Oh my God. Basically the length of the
Told
field.
you I couldn't tolerate any highlights.
Basically picks up the ball from a break in his own half, goes about 60 metres. He's getting chased down by, I want to say, Talanoa, but it could have been Shaw, someone pacey. Anyway, it looks like he's going straight to the corner, but he's going to get caught up with. Basically stops and comes back inside and just leaves 2 Hull players bombing past him, cuts in and goes in nearer the sticks. Beautiful, beautiful try with a very intelligent finish.
He's a good player.
Yes.
Jake,
so it just excited me, that try.
Yeah. And we should celebrate these moments of excitement, sure.
Yeah.
Jake Bibby, 2 try assists, 105 metres. Logan Tompkins, 1 try assist, 44 tackles. Josh Jones, 11 tackle busts, 106 metres. A few massive tackle bust numbers in this game across both teams.
He's a devastated runner of the ball, isn't he, Josh Jones? It's good to see. Okay, at the same time then, Leeds Rhinos were 32 points to 16 winners over the Wigan Warriors in front of 13,579, refereed by Ben Thurler.
Tyler Casfell said, I don't recognise that Wigan team tonight. No fight, no defence, no strength in the arm wrestle. They looked tired from the start. Leeds were good with the ball and smothered Wigan when they had possession. Much deserved win.
Albany85 said, big reaction from the Rhinos after the last 2 weeks. Can't help but look at the table and think if we'd not thrown 2 points away at Wigan, we'd be talking about catching Cass now. Cuthbertson's performance typified the Rhinos' determination, especially his first half dive forward to catch a wayward pass, then offload in one movement. Nice to see Tompkins back to his best, or somewhat close. I love Friday night rugby.
Cutthroat Jake said, Leeds tonight were awesome, correcting, improving every issue from last week. They had the best halves with Maguire and Moon, the best fullback, though Tompkins tried his heart out, and Stevie Ward was irresistible. Next year, Leeds need to make Ward the captain, and we will finally have replaced Sinfield.
Rich Wilkinson says, now then, lads, any win against Wigan is a good win, but this one was a corker. We totally outplayed them. Lots of standouts for Leeds. Mags and Cuthbo were outstanding, but Ward and Parcell were different class. In the context of the eights, it was a massive game for both clubs. Great bounce back from the Rhinos. Throw in the Walker News, and we are back on track, marching on together.
Brian Davies said, rocks and diamonds from Sam Tompkins. Be good to see him back to his best, but expect it's too late this year. Odd listening to the commentary on Sky with Eddie oblivious to the fact that Wigan aren't going well in the league. They'll need to play a lot better than that if they are to make Old Trafford, and there was nothing tonight to suggest that will happen. Judging by the lack of Wigan fans there, I expect their fans agree.
Yeah, I think it might be a bit too late for Wigan this season.
Shall we touch on attendances?
13,500.
Best crowd of the weekend, but still down on the regular season crowd, as all these games were, as Gary Ormiston got in touch with us to point out, because he's always got an eagle eye on pointing out when crowds are down and trying to figure these things out. And we had a bit of a back and forth about it. One thing that was challenging for any of the teams in the semi-finals last week, but in particular the teams that were away from home, and the teams that won, and also in particular the teams that won the semi-final last weekend, was getting to this game. Wigan, now the fixtures were released on the Wednesday or whatever, so we could have started buying our tickets at that point, but most people were either still buying tickets for the semi-finals, because Wigan fans kind of bought up the tickets quite late for that, or we're not focused on the Super League, we're focused on the semi-final. Then after we won on the Sunday, phone lines were down on the Monday because they were dealing with walk-up ticket purchases for the Challenge Cup final. Most of the walk-up purchases would have been for the Challenge Cup final on the Monday and the Tuesday. By the time then you get to Wednesday, they can't post them out to reach you in time with any surety for the Friday night. So I think a lot of people maybe will focus more on spending their money on the Wembley tickets, which, by the way, at 50 quid a pop in the bottom part of the end, isn't a cheap do. So I think that partially explains it, and then the partial explaining of Wigan fans kind of feeling like we've not been entertained very well this year, so why spend more money than I'm already spending to go and watch a game that maybe won't be that meaningful in the grand scheme of things. Didn't stop me going, but I did feel that maybe my last trip across the M62 to watch Wigan this year, it sort of left me feeling that way on the way back because of the things that people have said about no fight and that sort of stuff. So that's the attendances touched off. It happened in all the games this week, and this game just was the only one anyone mentioned it in.
There you go.
In the reviews.
Get to the game then, because you were there. What were your thoughts?
Well, I've not watched it back, so I've not seen all the ins and outs of everything back, but it was obvious. Leeds were just by far and away the better team. The second half from Leeds in this game was one of the most dominant second halves I've seen this season, on a par with the Hull FC second half against Leeds in the Cup semi-final the weekend before, to be completely honest. They were almost flawless in the second half, and Wigan weren't terrible in the second half, other than they weren't in the faces of the Rhinos at all, but they weren't making tons and tons of mistakes in the second half, putting themselves under tons and tons of pressure. That all happened in the first half. For us to go in 10-all at half time kind of showed that we still had flashes in us. We could still do good things. There was the Tompkins offload for Davies' try, then Davies' pick up and break for his try. There was the close call. I don't know how close it was on the replay or not, but the obstruction try for Liam Farrell early doors, where Williams went through a gap that must have been artificially created in some way by a man on his inside. It certainly wasn't as clear cut from my point of view as the Leeds one. That was just later in the half. But Wigan brought the problems on themselves in the first half, and Leeds took advantage through great play by people like Cuthbertson and Parcell in particular, and I thought Golding was very good in the first half as well. Deserves credit for how he played. Then Wigan got back into it, kind of just through having some good players, but not really playing that well. Really, 10-all at half-time wasn't a fair reflection on how bad Wigan had been for large parts of that, rather than necessarily how good Leeds had been. Leeds had been better, but they weren't world beating in the first half. But all of what they did in the first half laid the platform for, like I say, one of the most flawless halves of rugby I've seen this season in the second half. And they were very entertaining with it. And they were making ridiculous offloads. There was one where Cuthbertson managed to sort of hover almost above the foot, like the body control and power to keep his arm as he was down, keep his arm off the floor, when anyone else, I don't know, a man of that weight can't have. He just bent nature
physics
to get an offload
Bent
away.
Nature. That sounds like a documentary from one of our very early shows.
But
go on.
But I think that they were outstanding. Stevie Ward obviously stood out, as he has done a few times when he's been back in the side this year. We're big fans of Stevie Ward.
Massively
over here. The halfbacks were okay. Maguire did keep a good control on things. Moon, I didn't really know what he was. I didn't really notice Moon do that much in the game. Wigan's tackling was abysmal. Both sides. I mean, all the Wigan fans slagged off Gelling because he jumps out of the line and missed a couple of tackles in this game, not from jumping out of the line, just from being not always great tackling. But Liam Farrell was the worst I've seen him tackle in contact for a long time. Maybe he's just easing his way back from his injury that he had, but that was part of the problem. George Williams missed a few tackles in the first half. There was an absolutely pathetic effort by